Our next story is about what happens when classical and jazz musicians combine their talents to create a sound that borrows from the best of both worlds. Here are the 442s.
The hardest thing about categorizing this music, everybody likes categories. You know, you go to iTunes and you get your classical favorites and your top 40 favorites and your R&B favorites. The 442s are so hard to categorize because we delve into so many different areas of inspiration. And so we have not been able to find an easy moniker to kind of codify what we are. And that's tricky, and it's also freeing. It's hard when you're trying to explain to people what you do and who you are, but you just tell them, come in and hear us. Just listen to it, and that'll explain it.
The name the 442s comes from the standard tuning of A is 442 hertz, and that's what the oboist in the symphony plays to tune the orchestra before each concert, and that's kind of where we got that name. That felt good. Great, yeah. That felt really good. Because it's going to break down soon again anyway, so it can feel like walking off the cliff a little bit. Well, I kind of am the utility man in the group. I do a little bit of everything. I do guitar and accordion and some percussion, some glockenspiel. I do all those things. I'm kind of running around on each tune, and I also compose most of the music. I'm trying to be open with it and let whatever wants to happen happen. I'm not trying to put any kind of labels or genres on the compositions. I'm not trying to be a classical composer. I'm not trying to be a jazz composer. I'm trying to use the players that I have available to me.
Adam writes so well for all of us, and each time we come to the rehearsal, he's brought a new element of things that he's wanted to try and see, and we'll discuss it and we'll talk about it, and he'll have us come over to his place individually sometimes in between rehearsals and say, well, what sits well and what works? Does this work? Is this good? What can you do here? Each opportunity that we have to kind of stretch ourselves as musicians kind of goes into the sauce, you know, it adds a complexity to us as musicians, whatever genre we're playing, classical, jazz, pop, whatever. My tastes my entire life have been really, really diverse, and I've always been a big fan of every kind of music you can imagine.
For Sean and I being a part of the symphony, you know, you're there and you're playing the notes and you're following the direction of the conductor, and you're creating music in a way, but it's not your impetus. You're not the one who's calling the artistic shots. And when you have a group like this, we are that artistic impetus. We are the ones who are making the decisions and the voices, and we can change things. And I think for me, that's the most fun element of the 442s. Just getting a chance to play completely outside my comfort zone and outside the box. And one thing that's nice about the 442s is that not only do we have, you know, through composed pieces that we are all playing together what is written on the page, but we also have times where we're improvising as well. And so for Sean and I think from the symphony, that's really rare. You know, classical musicians are never encouraged or taught to improvise and to create music on the spot. And for us, I think it's a challenge, it's a thrill, it is nerve-wracking, it's scary, but it's so fun ultimately.
You know, it's kind of like classical acting versus improvisational stuff like Saturday Night Live. We're very much interpretive in our classical lives, and here we're able to both be interpretive and improvisatory.
It's uncharted waters for me, but Bjorn and Sean have a very strong pop sensibility, and they understand the feel of jazz, so it was really quite easy. that made my job so much easier, because they have an inherent feel for groove, and they understand that other styles. I mean, Sean knows more about pop, jazz music, and you name it, than most people that I've ever met. And Bjorn is very open to pop music, and he's quite funky, as you hear on some of the songs.
Because it's kind of everybody's second pursuit, we get to be very picky about what we do and where we play and how we're presented. And I think that's a huge advantage for us. And I think everybody who comes to our concerts can feel that we're very happy with the situation, you know, that we're playing in right there, and we don't have to do anything we don't want to do.
We start with what Adam writes, and it's a great product, and we want to perform it in the most convincing way and really take it to where it needs to be, which is something that we kind of get together ahead of time, and then we'll go in and just kind of let it fly in our concerts. And a lot of times things will happen in a show that never could have really happened in a rehearsal, just because of the energy that we get from the audience.
I view this as another form of chamber music, and I'm very, very busy outside of Powell Hall, filling myself up with other things and other experiences. And I think we could all say that this group is another facet of our life where we can pour ourselves into something completely different. So it's not difficult to transition. It's just part of kind of being that complete musician and finding so many different areas that make up your whole.
And I think the more we do things and the more we push this, and the further we can see this goes, the more we realize that it's all part of the same big sonic realm of what it is we all do.